With every breath of life blown into soil gathered from each part of the world, fashioned in his likeness and created in his image, came the first man. He was given a wife, a helper. Both were given clear directions on what was permissible and what was forbidden. Both suffered a spiritual death for their transgression. Eventually, both experienced physical death. Man belongs to him, and to him all praises are due. It will be a terrible thing to die not in the state of total submission to his will, forever wandering aimlessly in this life and the next.
Profess your faith, Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Jew. Did you choose it, or did it choose you? You're emulating others, you're regurgitating their words, and unlearned mind is simply absurd. He is the knower, sees all that you do. So don't be superficial, to thy own self be true. You came into this world alone, and so shall you go. Or when you describe your actions, there's no man to say it so. Free will he gave us, reason to save us. No time to waste into the days. Free will he gave us, praise him, he'll save us. No time to waste into the days. Yes, soon you take. Yes, soon you'll take. Yes, soon you'll take. Life is a burden, is part of the test. Inconvenience yourself and see how you'll be blessed. You're a guided example. You're distinguished from all others. Treat them all with kindness, your sisters and your brothers. Being righteous, bow down to the merciful Lord. Trust that he will bless you with the most gracious reward. Being a disbeliever, you cannot afford. Remembrance is the only way to be on one accord. Free will he gave us, praise him to save us. No time to waste into the day. Free will he gave us, praise him to save us. No time to waste into the day. Say what? Yes, soon you'll take. I don't think they heard you. Yes, soon you'll take. Say it one more time. Yes, soon you'll take. Welcome to a live episode of Daddy's Right Here. I am your host, as always, Sabir Alim. We got a good one tonight, as always. Apparel off proclaims man, journalistically diverted. His riches amassed, but it's spiritually desert to his. He's searching for an answer, but he did it to himself. He's putting things before God, mistaking it all for wealth. Party and for pride, no misdeeds you cannot hide. His punishment is swift. Forgiveness he'll provide. Repent and mend yourself, declaring your untruth. Turn to the unforgiving, for he's the living proof. Free will gave us, grace and to save us. No time to waste, that's who we take. Free will gave us, grace and to save us. No time to waste, that's who we take. Yes, soon you'll take. Yes, soon you'll take. Yes, soon you'll take. Speaking of taste, in this place, being lonely is key. A servant to God, not the avowed enemy. Spirituality is fine. I, religion, girl, mom, for life. I give honor and praise to the Most High, the most gracious, most merciful one, the go-to guy. Each day above ground, don't live in the past. Live into the fullest because it could be your last. Vengeance is mine, the Lord saith. His grace and mercy ain't nothing to play with. Free will he gave us, grace and to save us. No time to waste, soon the days. Free will he gave us, grace and to save us. No time to waste, soon the days. Yes, soon you'll take. Yes, soon you'll taste. Yes, soon you'll taste. What's going on, girl? Come here.
What's up, babe?
You all looking all crazy.
You see me? Yeah. I'm trying to get me something. What's up?
Must be a hot one.
I'm trying to make a hollow with you. I'm gonna for you. It's gonna be it.
Good thing, but you know,
I'm gonna show you.
I just get what you know.
Oh, yeah?
I ain't no judgment here.
Nah, we ain't doing none of that.
I'm just saying I'm not in that mode. Like I'm doing, you know, shit.
So what you doing different? Show me what you doing different. Put me up on game.
Girl,
I'm trying to be.
yeah.
It is what it is. I am. Oh, I'm gonna show you in a minute. I know you done heard about me. You know my name. You know who I am. How you ride?
I know.
Oh, you know.
I know who you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it is. Oh,
I just
what they say.
all around town.
All right. What's up?
I heard about you. You got 3 stage names. Getting cash from your friend Slider, who's effing can't sing. You're no music, lying in cold bed. You're still fighting alright, and you're still being misled. Your condition to believe has been always take your way. Your ghetto glamour girl who's simply gone astray. You're looking for love, always finding it in faces, fulfilling your dreams. To you, the good man takes ahead. If you're coming at me, you better bring your A game, because I can care less about your A-frame. Just keep it moving along. If you want that thing, girl, you got to want to be boss. To have my sick name. Your silent picture on what a man is supposed to do. But you're always missing your guidance. Misstated, you don't have a clue. Self-righteous indignation, the imposer of pain. You and your 3M slotted character just the same. Calculated selection, you gave them all your affection. Your attitude now rude. No good men did diary confession. If you coming to me, you bend your A-game, because I can care less about your A-frame. Just keep it moving along. If you want that fake fame, girl, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name, girl, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name. There's no example of a man living in your home. Then now or later, girl, you're living all alone. You're looking for daddy, still finding a caddy, but his leadership pointed by mistreatment that day. Dude, doing you real dirty. He's running your house. Is irresponsible and selfish, and he has no attribute style. He's single-minded and selfishly driven. He wants to be in control. He wants to change how you're living. Unrightly guided, heading for disaster. You're giving honor and praise to God, but you won't let him master. If you're coming at me, you better bring your A game, because I can care less about your A-frame. Just keep it moving along. If you want that fake fame, girl, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name, girl, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name, girl, you gotta wanna be boss. To have my safe name, just keep it moving along. If you want that fake fame, 'cause I care less about your A-frame. What's happening, y'all? This is your man, Sabir Aleem, and welcome to another live episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. You know me, your host as always, Sabir Aleem. Had to switch up on the time uh, because I am in the midst of releasing a new single. Yeah, I can't stay away from it, man. I said I'm going to take a little sabbatical from it, and I'm going to go ahead and work with some other projects. Well, I'm continuing to do that. But I can't stay away from the music thing, man. It's just like it's addictive, and I just continue to improve in every aspect of the craft, because I'm a newbie, and I'm really just feeling some things. So I got this new tune, Bottom Feeders. You probably have seen the promo for it. So I'm working on that right now. That should be out any day now. I've had a little cold going in and out of me, and been cleansing myself of that and getting rid of that, and um, just trying to get the vocals like I want them to be before the release. The beat is done. The beat is tight.
Just have to work on the intro once I get the lyrics done and align some of the beats to the lyrics, and we good to go, man. So stay tuned for that. Bottom feeders, yeah. Check out the singles cover. Yeah, see what you can figure out in the cover because the cover is a tasty treat. I can't upload it and show it to you right now because it's on my extended drive. And brother Bilal Qayyum, assalamu alaikum, brother. Long time no see. I mean, I've been following you, so I see your pictures, you and your beautiful wife, man. Congratulations on what y'all got, 40 years, man. Jeez, when I grow up, I know who I want to be like, man. I'm just trying to get one past 10 years, brother. Inshallah. Um, so yeah, that's what's happening. I'm gonna send out some more promos on that later on this evening. Uh, so listen, let's go right on into the subject matter, man. Because last week I talked about, well, the week before last, because I was in the lab all weekend and I didn't get a chance to get on. So we were talking about my experience, man, with fatherhood and how little boys are groomed, and how we come into adulthood, man, with a lot of bad information and little to no information on what it is to be a father, other than the financial responsibilities of it. And the end of the day, just a matter of we need to do better with our boys. We need to love our boys back into the home, back into the bosom of safety, right? That's the only way they're gonna stay off the streets, man. We got to change how we're raising. We got to change what we're saying to them, how we're guiding them. We have to hold them more. We have to hug them more. We have to kiss our sons. Yes, brothers, we need to kiss and hold our sons, right? We need to get past our phobias and these misconceptions. If you treat a boy in a particular manner, that he's going to turn out to be a way which you don't desire for him to be, and that has little or nothing to do with that, right? But we need to love our sons. I don't have any sons. I have all girls. But it's a matter of we need to do a better job with boys. If we're going to have healthy relationships, if we're going to have long standing marriages within our communities, if we're going to see more of two-parent households, we have to do better with our young males now, so they know how to nurture their relationships and how to hang in there. And that the old saying of, a rabbit with one hole is a silly rabbit. Dumb stuff. We got to stop giving the attaboys to, our young males who are out there, squirting seed and this girl and that girl and so on and so forth. Yeah, we did it, but now we know better. And we know the outcome of that is just what we have in many of our communities, right? Single parent driven homes. You never even liked the mother, let alone, try to get along with her. It was one of them nights, maybe two or three. And that was the size of it. And that's all it was about. But you have a child. We have so many children, that came about as a result of that kind of conduct. And we need to do better with our boys. So, brothers, hug your sons when you see them. Spend time with him. If he's hurt, let him share about his hurt. If he falls down, let him know it's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry, because this won't be the first or last time you're hurt. We have to teach them to learn to embrace their emotions and stop harboring their emotions, until they just explode later on. So, and I also talked about, trauma, how I was brought up in the household. There wasn't any hugging with mom, and even today, although we hug, we don't hug as I would another. Let's just say it for that, because that just wasn't the environment she grew up in either. She didn't grow up in the environment of hugs and all that. So how could she possibly have passed that on, right? Unless she had worked through her own emotional upheavals, her own childhood trauma, right? She couldn't give that. And it's a lot of us that didn't grow up with that don't know how to give it. We do our best, but it takes time to heal. And if you're not taking the time to heal, from that childhood trauma, man, then it's going to be a rough road, and that's what we have. We have a lot of people traveling this rough road today. So today's topic focuses on 8 ways childhood family trauma can affect parenting. Can affect parenting. And as always, it's from Psychology Today. That's what I read regularly, and it's by Katie Gillis, LCSW, BACS, who also is the author of Invisible Bruises. Invisible Bruises, yeah. So this here article on trauma is talking about overcompensating for what you did not receive, or even regressing, and how common this is. We seldom look at childhood trauma in relationship to how we parent, right? One of the things that we tend to do is we parent our children in a way that we want to give to them what we didn't get, and we don't want to give to them what we got that we didn't like, right? And one of the things that's not considered in any of that is self-centeredness, because as children, uh, there's total self-centeredness. There's total self-centeredness, right? And because everything we see we want to be the way we want it to be, or we have this set of expectations, right? These expectations and this false perception of living trickles down into our being, and we begin to condition ourselves based on what we think. That's why we have so much difficulty with our parent. So just imagine that, and you raising your own child. So take the misinformation you got, take what you missed factually in your household, and then take what you perceive you missed and layer that on to now you have to raise another with those layers. Now here comes the layers of the child. You understand what I'm saying? So the article, key points that it mentions here: the way we experience our first family relationships can often repeat itself as we start our own families. And what we call that in the clinical world is rubber banding. That means when you're faced with certain situations in your life, there are triggers that force you consciously and or unconsciously back to that childhood trauma. Now, when people think of trauma, first thing they think of is uh, beatings, some level of abuse, seeing someone die, murdered, severely injured, something like that. We don't think about the expectation aspect, because a lot of the trauma, when we really look at it, is self inflicted. Now, there's a self inflicted trauma that happens out of ignorance. Then there's the self inflicted trauma that happens out of the total self centeredness of a child that you haven't shaken off yet as an adult. You just want to keep thinking that things should be your way. But when we look at things such as father absenteeism, right? And I shared with you guys in the last show about my experience, with my dad's absence, and how thankful, that I am that I rekindled that relationship, because that's something that I needed to do. And that I didn't look for him to be this superhero of any kind. That was my father, and I just needed to build a relationship with him and not expect anything from him other than just two dudes, right? And just taking it from that perspective, we had a really good relationship. And then, he got murdered in 2004, September of 2004. But it doesn't mean that because he wasn't there for many years of my life, that I didn't have an internal yearning for him. I have 23 of his chromosomes within me. Therefore, I will yearn for him in some capacity, consciously or unconsciously. It happens. You can't avoid that. But there were different events that took place in my life where he wasn't there. And for me as a child, wanting him to be there in a particular moment of my life, right? And he wasn't, that happens in my adult life. And it sends me back to when, me and dude, I thought we were friends, but like I find out like we really ain't cool. So that relationship that I began to have with my father, where we was cool, no judgment, we were good, we could talk. So that's why I don't have. I can count how many dudes I'm close to on one hand, and I'm good with that. But that doesn't mean that even today, man, I still would like to have had like a relationship, you know, with somebody, a brother, that we cool, we talk like real talk, right? But it's going to talk a little bit about here about the trauma and about the walls that we put up, that we need, that we feel we need to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves. And that's what this is talking about in this article today. But it's called rubber banding when you go to different periods. So, everything that happens between you and an intimate partner is not just because of a failed previous relationship. Nah, you got to go back further than that. And sometimes we're afraid to go back further than that because we know something happened back there that harmed us, that paved the way for us to be the way we are today and to not let it go, which is why we suffer. Suffering is an option. Pain happens. Suffering is an option. You don't have to suffer, right? One of the other key points it has in this article, people may struggle to form healthy relationships with their children if they did not have healthy examples. Yeah, we really need to look at that because I talked about in the last show about my emotional absence. I was physically absent from one of my three daughters' lives for some time, but I was emotionally absent from all three of them until I cut that old lifestyle off that I was living. The street life, the drugs, the alcohol, and the whole game, right? Because you can't have that in the street. It doesn't exist in the street. And I always tell dudes, I work within the prisons, oh, you don't turn that dude off. When you on the street, you hustling, you clocking, you don't turn that dude off when you go in the house. You become somebody totally different. And that dude on the street supersedes any reality of self that you think you're presenting. It supersedes all of that. Finding ways to move forward while validating your history is a crucial part of the healing process. Validating your history. It's happened, acknowledge it, validate it, heal. You have to accept that it happened. Not accept what happened, accept it did happen. Now, what do you want to do to free yourself? Because most of the events that happen, the other person or persons have moved on. Have moved on. And it's easy for the victim to do that. I mean, the victimizer to do that, more than it is the person who was on the other end of being victimized. The perpetrator can move on, especially if they go with no consequences. Especially if they go with no consequences. They keep on doing it to somebody else. It keeps on happening between them and others because that's what they do. Uh so let's go to the article. I just want to skip all the extra stuff in between here and go right to the core of the matter. Uh, all right. So in case you didn't know, that's my album Spot playing in the background. That was volume two of Poetic Peace. Poetic Peace was the first one, and this is Spot volume two. Excuse me. And this one is all club music. To the article, there are many ways that your history can affect how you parent. There's no such thing as a perfect parenting example. It is likely that you will make mistakes. What matters is that you acknowledge and learn from them. The way you experience love and affection as a child will likely influence how you give love and affection to your own children. Likewise, if you experience dysfunctional or unhealthy patterns in your family, such as inconsistent discipline, enmeshment, lack of boundaries, or even abuse, you may be more likely to repeat these patterns even unknowingly. And you really want to look at the lack of boundaries part. Like really look at that. What kind of boundaries you have with your children, right? Because if there were no boundaries, if you were allowed to do as you darn well please, coming up, like unlike many of us, that street light come on, you need to be in the house. You need to be in front of the door, right? You need to be in the eye shop, right? All that little extra stuff, the talking back, oh, it was none of that. It was none of that. That's where Department of Children and Families, Department of Human Service, and all that kind of stuff came into play because it's like you can't use belt anymore. I didn't get a whole lot of belt. I got extension cord. I got whatever was in arm's reach. Right? That's the way it was. My mother's like 5'6", 5'7". You'd have swore she was 6'8". Right? And today, even today, you rarely hear me use profanity in my mother's presence. So I don't have that arrogance of, well, I'm an adult now. I can say what I want. No, that's my mother. I show her the same respect today at 63, almost 64 years old, that I did when I was 6, when I was 16. And when I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore, I left her house because I was not going to live in her house and be disrespectful. I done got in this group chat now. I got all these family members now want to do their little chat stuff. This is just crazy. Now they writing them. I'm going to turn this ring off. That's what I'm going to fix. I'm going to fix all of you. I'll just turn the ring off. Because, yeah, I know. Yeah. Anywho, so these are the things you want to look at. You want to look at your own inconsistencies. I don't care how old, how young your children are. Oftentimes, a lot of people talk, well, I got adult. I mean, my children are adults. What does that mean? They live their own lives. No, they may live outside of your home. They may have their own families. They may be able to make decisions because they are adults now. That doesn't mean they aren't your children anymore. Dudes always tell me that in the prisons. My children are grown. I don't need no parenting class. They need parenting class for it. They got their own lives. See, that's the kind of mindset that we have to watch out for, right? That's what we have to be wary of. That's that misinformation that we got. You on your own now. You're a grown man, a grown woman. So they still need their father. You still have a responsibility. That doesn't change anything. So what? They have their own lives. What about when they need to pick up the phone and call you? What about if they want to just like listen, get together, let's go break bread together and have some dialogues. I got some things I just want to talk about. That's what you're there for. That's what you're there for. So they don't have to rely on some other joker who call themselves their friend who takes that same conversation they just had with them and they go take it somewhere else or they use it against them. Right? That's what a father does. That's what we do. So they begin to see it from a different perspective. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm saying like, cause if you like, I have daughters. If you have daughters and none of your daughters are married, right? It's gonna come time when they're gonna get married. Do you want to just walk them down the aisle? Now you want to be proud papa? But when she was going through her struggles, to in the relationship and just wanted to bounce some info off of you, you what? You didn't want to hear none of it because she grown. You got to think about a lot of things when you start saying, "Well, my children are grown now." What the hell does that mean, right? So let's go to some of the areas that they have identified here that you may struggle with. So the first area here, they said difficulties regulating your emotions, particularly anger and frustration. Your history can make it difficult for you to cope with your feelings, causing you to react inappropriately and often emotionally immature. Let me repeat that for the people in the front who didn't hear me. And emotionally immature. This can make it difficult to support your children's healthy development of understanding their own feelings and emotions. Remember now, you're guiding them. So if you're driving down the street and your child is in the car with you and you're like cussing people out, you're rolling down the window and all that kind of stuff, that's not setting a good example. I've done it. I'm capable of doing it again. But what example is that setting? Right? So I'm not a frequent flyer of that. I may talk about the shenanigans in a way that I'm frustrated by it, I'm irritated by it, but I'm not rolling down the window like, doing no road rage kind of stuff. But how about when you're in the car and you're on the phone and you're talking badly about another person? They don't even have to know the person. They can just hear the conversation. They can hear the words that are being exchanged. They can hear you gossiping about another family member. And then when they see that family member, what's the first thing that they think of? What's what's happening between the two of you? My little one is almost 2, right? Very smart, pays attention to everything, picks up words that you're not expecting her to pick up. Like she got this little thing now, she hears something in the house or she hears somebody like trip or fall or something like that, or you hear somebody, what's happening? What's happening? Like what happened? Like what happened? And that's because like that's not a word we're teaching her, but if she trips and falls and does something, we say, well, what happened? So now you hear her, what happened? But it's like, and it's just so many other things with that. But I'm saying all this to say that if I was ill prepared, if I was still emotionally unavailable, I would not have an appreciation for what I'm seeing in this new life that God has bestowed upon me and her mother, right? Because it's a blessing that's been bestowed. I'm just told y'all I'm 63. I just told you she's almost 2, right? So what does that tell you, right? I thought I was done. So I had this is this is beyond this is a blessing beyond blessings. I'm afforded the opportunity to experience what I missed. Who the hell am I that I deserve such an opportunity? You understand what I'm saying? God knows I missed that. I was there, but I wasn't there. I'm seeing all these newfound things, man, that I missed because I wasn't connected to him or anything else. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So here I had this little bundle of joy. We had this little bundle of joy. And I'm sitting there looking sometimes like we still say, yeah, we that we got a baby. Yeah, got a baby. Yeah. Yeah. And I just look at it sometimes. Wow, we got a baby. But if I was emotionally unavailable like I was during my three prior daughters' growth and developmental stages, right? Man, I wouldn't. I got such an appreciation for all of this, man. The crying is driving me nuts sometimes. She's at that almost two stage, man, and she just whines a lot, right? That whole emotional aspect of, them X chromosomes, man. And I'm in a house full of X chromosomes. I've always been. I don't know what that's all about. That's a conversation I have with God often too. Why all girls? What's up with that? I wasn't that bad to them, was I? I mean, I was a hoe, but I wasn't beating up on nobody and that kind of stuff. But maybe he feels like that I can do pretty good with him. I ain't done too bad. My daughters, turned out pretty good. They turned out pretty good. I'm sorry, pretty good. Damn good, right? Damn good. Um, but I wouldn't have been able to deal with any of this, man, if I wasn't healed myself, right? That's why it's important that you have to acknowledge the trauma so you can move through life, without that baggage, man. That's some heavy stuff to deal with. And it's so heavy, man, that it just destroys everything around you. Everybody you come into contact with, man, is negatively impacted by your presence, whether you know it or not. It's just a struggle being around you. It's hard being around you. And when it's so embedded, so enmeshed in your life, you miss all the joys going on because you got these walls up and you're protecting yourself from something the other person is not even putting upon you. But you won't give them the opportunity to put it upon you, even if they were going to do that. Therefore, you lose that relationship and you find yourself in ongoing conflicts and confrontations with the other person. And this is exactly what you go through with your child. It's exactly what you go through with your child. You're not healed. So you can't have a healthy relationship even with your own child because you have chosen not to heal. So you put your pain and your suffering upon the child and you groom your child to be the exact same way as you. And you wonder why you have such a difficult time when they come into being teenagers because they're just like you, because they handle situations just like you, because they have your life lens, because you've taken away theirs by imposing yours upon them. Therefore, they are your clones, and you can't stand them, can you? Think about it. Just like you. Can't stand them. She get on my nerves. Well, she just like you. Just like you. They don't know any other way to cope. You taught them how to cope with things. You taught them how to confront things. If you're lackadaisical in your approach to discipline, they're going to be undisciplined. And when they have their child, their children are going to be undisciplined just like them. There's no boundaries there. You're being firm. You're being authoritative. You think you're rightly guided, and they have no say so in anything. Yeah, there's some things we can talk about, and there's some things we can't talk about. No, you're not going out tonight. No, that's nothing to talk about. It's over. It's done. Period. But there are things about their developmental uh, stages of life that when they ask the question, you need to be prepared to answer the question. Right? Don't let them miss out on, excuse me, uh, pertinent guidance for the developmental stages of life. There's no more rites of passage like it used to be, right? It used to be a rites of passage. You had to partake in certain things like that in order to be able to get this and get that, and it's no longer earning of what do you call that you give the kids for I can't think of it, allowance, right? It's no more allowance. You just buy me the damn thing you want. No, I didn't raise my daughters like that. Nah, you want something? I help you out. I'll help you out. And sometimes, I'll go all in, but they'll save their money. Like, Dad, I've seen the sewing machine, or I seen the suit, or well, I seen my grandchildren the same way. Whenever they can stop me for a minute, slow me down for a minute. I forget things. I'm gonna take care of it, and I move so much and do so much, man. And I tell them, listen, just charge it to my head, not my heart. But they'll ask, like, can you? It's not like give me, give me, give me. It doesn't happen that way. You know. But my daughters, they were raised that way. They were raised to know that I'll help you. Don't just come sticking your hand out. I want this and I want that. That's not how that works. They saved their money. Um, when they had jobs, they saved money, and if they didn't, it was, like, Dad, when you get some extra money, I'm still trying to find this extra money. That they always like people. Hey, when you get some extra money, you think you can? What the hell is extra money? Huh? What the hell is that? Extra money. I digress. Number 2 on the list: difficulties with being an authority figure. If you are not parented in a healthy way, this may lead to discomfort with being in a position of authority. Some may react to their children as a peer rather than as a parent. Similarly, others may react more authoritatively. Um, and what they're trying to do is overcompensate for the parentification they received as a child. Now I've never seen a parentification word, but it's in psychology today. So it's like, conversate. That's in the dictionary now. Conversating, and conversating used to be straight street slang. And parentification. So this can result in inconsistent or even non-existent discipline, which can lead to unhealthy parent-child interactions and dynamics. So you look at, my mother was very strict. My mother was authoritative. Now I didn't like it as a child, but I look at my penmanship. I look at my language, diction. This overbite causing me, when I want to say sit, sound like I said shit. But uh, those things paid off, right, for me, right, because of what I do, you know, for a living. I've been doing for the last 30 years, right? And I spent a lot of time in front of people, lectures, workshops, trainings, meetings, things like that. So, if she hadn't been authoritative, how successful would I have been in those areas? I may have still traveled the same pathway, that I have, but it doesn't mean that I would have been very effective. I wouldn't have been very effective. But the overcompensation, I told you, my mother's 5'6", 5'7" at the most, and you thought she was like 6'10". So when you're that size, she reminds you of Jada Pinkett. If you ever saw my mother's pictures, her younger years, she had sharp haircut, cut the Bobby style cut, right, light bright, right, beautiful woman, right, remind you of Jada Pinkett. Um, but she had to put foot to some behind because some would try. My mother, listen, my mother wasn't no joke. Yeah, she had no fear that I've ever seen, right? And she did it from the muscle, raising me and my sister. She did it from the muscle, man. You know, yeah, did it from muscle. Um, but she was raised that way too. She was raised that way too. She had a mother who was, firm, right? So it would only be right for me to not break the mold and go ahead and be firm too, right? I just did some healing along the way, right? I had those kind of resources available to me to do some healing, to do some work on those areas of my life. So now with that kind of guidance, I can look at things through a different lens and take a more humbler approach to it, practicing some humility so I can get that information I need to be whole. Um, but I still am. I'm not as strict as I was. I don't think I'm an authoritative. I think I have a more authoritarian approach, and I believe in accountability and discipline, not punishment. It's like it's if you enjoy a particular thing and you no longer have that, it should be a jarring experience for you to change that negative behavior. And if you fail to do so, okay, well, you just won't have that for a minute, right? But the discipline has to be consistent with the desired behavior change as well. So you have to look at what it is that you're using as the discipline tool. And I mean, but it's not a whole lot that you can really do um, up until a certain age because kids don't really have anything you can take away, and because the level of accountability when both parents are working and the child is at school, and when the child comes home, the other parent is like dead dog tired, and you got discipline is something that you have to plan. It can't be a knee jerk reaction. The first impulse, yeah, we take the phone, but making you come and sit to the table every damn Saturday or Sunday, is part of being disciplined as well because you want to be doing something else on Saturday. It's a lot of things. You clean your room Saturday morning as opposed to go ahead and hit the street because I know that's how I grew up. When I lived with my uncle and my aunt in Oak Lane, Saturday morning you can forget about running out in the street 9 o'clock. Not unless you plan on getting up 6 and doing your chores, right? But it was always about the woodwork being wiped down, the staircase, the banisters, who had dishes, who had trash, who had the basement, all this kind of stuff. Plus your own room. So taking a look at, your parenting style, the parenting style of your parents, and seeing if your style of, and I'm going to talk, next week's show is going to be about parenting styles, because you need to know what kind of style of parenting you have. And stop being okay. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Stop being okay with being the way you are if the way you are is proving to be a barrier between you and your child. When you can change that relationship, you don't always have to be a hard ass about everything, right? You don't. You don't have to have the answer to everything. You just don't. Sometimes give them guidance towards self discovery. Give them some information and ask them to do a cost benefit analysis. I've been a clinician too damn long. Have them do a cost benefit analysis or something. Have them write it down. Figure it out. If you keep selling drugs, what's going to be the end? When does the end come? Where does the money go? Where's your life insurance, your health insurance, so on and so forth, all those things. Now you get a job at McDonald's. I know they only paying $8, $9 an hour. Some places up to 15 now. But anyway, $9 ain't enough. You get two damn jobs. You work two shifts. You go to McDonald's and you work Burger King. Flip them damn burgers, right? Flip them bank accounts. You flip that card out. Here's my health care. Just be a flipping fool. Let them see for themselves. Keep telling somebody over and over again, they going in that direction. We already know they're going in that direction. They don't believe it. Okay, well, but you help people think. Don't think for them. Just share with them, your observation, maybe your own personal experience. and ask them questions. Let them answer the questions themselves. Okay. And then after they get finished talking, you give them the Dr. Phil response of, so tell me, how's that working for you today? Right? Okay, you working that out, huh? They taking another 2 years of your life. Damn. I guess your way ain't working, huh? So but you look at these aspects of yourself and see how you parent, right? You don't want to be a passive parent. You don't want to try to love everything away because love don't know. Mm-mm. Can't love it away. Nope, it doesn't. Right? You got to confront it head on. When people are going in the direction that they're going in, no amount of love in the world is going to change it. They're going to go in that direction. I didn't tell you to stop loving them. I didn't say stop showing love. Don't look for love to change it because their course is their course. The next one is forming healthy bonds with your children. If you have a history of unhealthy or even non existent bonds with your caregivers, you may struggle to form healthy bonds with your children. When we do not grow up with healthy examples of intimacy in familial relationships, intimacy can feel scary and uncomfortable. Yeah, I have a show, an episode on my Sabir Aleem educational station on YouTube that is titled Into Me See. Intimacy. And it's broken down into me see, right? That's what intimacy is. Letting someone in, allowing that person to see who you are, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Uh, but if like I didn't have a healthy bond with my mother, I didn't have a healthy bond with my father. I had a healthy bond with my uncle Frank and his wife, my aunt Dee, um, my uncle John, my uncle Ray, and Mr. Carl, the neighbor who lived behind us when I was living in a project in South Philly. Mr. Carl taught me a lot of things about an automobile, the mechanics of the proper way to simonize your car. Yeah, showed me how you wash it, wet it, wash it again, dry it off. And that's how I learned about the chamois cloth, how that thing absorbed water, and what impact it doesn't have on the paint. He actually took me to shoot pool at Mosconi's in South Philly, um, and that's pretty much where I would earn my lunch money. Yeah, I, I think I still got the eye. I ain't use it in a minute, but I slow roll the hell out of it. Talk to you dirty too while I'm doing it, and just lining them up and dropping them in. And he took me to Atco Speedway, so I learned about a lot of about race cars, funny cars, dragsters. He had a 70 GTO. His brother had a 69 Roadrunner, right? So I learned about headers and all that kind of stuff like that. He took me hunting. That wasn't my twist. Yeah, that took me hunting. Nope. Uh, did the trap shooting thing. I couldn't hit a damn thing with a shotgun. Nothing. If he'd have held it up in front of me, I'd have probably missed the damn thing. It's just a rifle, an M16. I got 26 out of 30 in basic. And the only reason that I didn't get the other four is because the rifle jammed on me. So I got 26 out of 30. Expert with a grenade. Matter of fact, I threw the grenade so damn hard it broke a tree limb and still hit the target. Couldn't tell me nothing then. Um, so those are some of the things he taught me. Uncle Frank taught me everything about work ethic. Everything I know about work ethic, I got from him. At 9, 10 years old, he had me exterminating apartments, exterminating houses. Taught me how to mix the chemical, how to pump the machine, and how not to squirt the furniture, curtains, and walls, how to hit the baseboard right, cutting grass. I was doing all that stuff. Right. So that's where my direction and my guidance came from. So I had pretty healthy relationships with them. I had healthy bonds with them. I had healthy bond with my grandparents, who I also spent some time with. So, I really did have some healthy examples, um, people who I bonded with, you know, and you really have to do an itemized list because our first line of contact, we look at parents, right? But when I was coming up, we had family members who stepped in and helped. Oh, he can come stay with us for a couple of years, and yeah, come on, go ahead, give yourself a break. Your mother need a break. She's watching both of y'all. She's working off. Come on, that doesn't happen as often anymore because people just don't feel like being bothered with one another, especially one another's stuff. But these are the same people who don't want to be bothered, who show up in their black attire, telling all these lies about how much they loved you and how you were such a nice young man, but just not nice enough to live in my house. Right? Number 4, being overprotective or overcompensating. If you grew up neglected, you may overcompensate by showering your children with gifts or attention. This can easily feel like smothering and can take the place of healthy emotional bonds and boundaries. Overprotection is often done out of concern or fear for the child's safety, such as wanting to protect them from the traumas you may have experienced. This can lead you to prevent your children from experiencing anything negative, which can stunt their emotional growth. Every pain that your child, just about every pain that your child will experience as they come of age, they should experience it now. Like the 1 year old, right? She's going to understand disappointment now, and she understands disappointment now. Now she's going through the stage of gimme, and she'll say thank you and you're welcome. She'll say bless you if you sneeze, and just but she's in this phase now of everything has to happen because she says that's when it needs to happen. So she needs to experience that discomfort, that pain of, oh no, 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 you, oh, eat, okay, good, have a seat, have a seat. It doesn't happen on demand, right? So children should go through that phase in your home. They should go through the disappointment of not being able to go a particular place because you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired. Now you can't always be tired, but I'm tired tonight. I worked hard. I want to rest. I'm sorry. I'm done. It's your mother. But they need to experience those things now, and they need to know how to cope with those things now. When they don't get that now, and then you take them to the Walmart with you, right? And they in there performing, and you done turned like 3 different colors in the face because you just want to choke the life out of them. You want to grab them by their little necks and drag them across the floor into a nearby corner and just beat what life they have out of them. But you can't. Oh, you can, but there's consequences, right? Responsibility is yours to teach them that now. That's your responsibility now. They need to experience all of those things now, right? Accept a broken heart from an absent man. So fathers, don't be absent. Be available, right? Because that's the first relationship that little girls have. That's the first male-female relationship that they have, and that sets the tone for who they're going to pick up along the way, right? Don't break their heart. Don't break their heart. It's not good. It's a lot of healing has to happen for both. Uh, and it says overprotection is often done out of concern or fear for the child's safety. Like you can't protect them, but give them the experience of some of these things. Give them the experience so they can fare better in the circumstance when they come into those situations. They do better with it. They know how to deal with it. Number 5, victim mentality behaviors. This is often seen in adults who feel victimized by their children, despite them being the ones in power. These are often the people who reported feeling victimized by their children's behaviors or attitudes that, while undoubtedly frustrating, are likely representative of normal adolescent behavior. Yeah. Did you forget what you did as an adolescent? Did you forget that this is the dummy stuff they do? That they're lazy, that they complain about every damn thing, that they want you to give them every damn thing, that they think that you're the homie, right? Until they feel that right hook. Ooh, 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 what was that? That was just a reminder that I'm your father, that I'm your mother. That the next time you decide to open your mouth and spew such remarks, it'll come again. Yeah, right. Um, you need to take responsibility for those things. How are you a victim of something when you're the power figure in the home? How the hell are you the victim? Now I've heard of abuse, elder abuse, and I've heard of some younger children taking advantage of, the grandparent or even, passive parents who, let that child run their mouth a little bit too much, be a little too slick with the stuff that you do. I'm gonna drop you. You can call whoever you want to call. Yeah, I'm gonna get some 8-ounce gloves, some 10-ounce gloves. We're gonna go in the garage. hmm Yeah, they just said don't leave no marks. They didn't say I couldn't handle you. They said don't leave no marks. Ain't gonna leave no marks. Get some nice size gloves and gonna be a little swelling, but ain't gonna be no mark. I'm gonna help you out a little bit. But you need to set the tone for how this is gonna go. If you don't, it's on you. And don't expect for anybody else to be there with you. Nah. Nah. Nobody else is gonna sit back and tolerate that. Not in their own home. No man is gonna let that happen in his home. And you're not gonna keep anybody. And if you're a dude who let your child do that, and you don't keep no woman like that. Oh hell no. She was like, yeah, both y'all crazy, y'all deserve each other. Because if he just said that to me or she just said that to me, flat on their back, they'd have been looking up at the ceiling. Parentification, they give an explanation for what that damn word means here. If you never had the healthy support of a parental figure, listen to the language here, healthy support of, and I just identified people who I had the healthy support of as a parental figure. Didn't dismiss my mother. My mother was going to always be my mother, but these were parental figures. You may unknowingly cast one of your children into the role of a surrogate spouse, right? Or emotional caregiver. This is unfair to the child and can lead to unhealthy behaviors and interactions. Yeah, this one here is a big one because you see a lot of this that goes on in single parent households. Yeah, I remember an uncle passed and uh, left my left a son behind, and the other children too, but a younger son. And I talked to his son and said, listen, you're not the man in the house. That's not your role. That's not your position. I think at the time he was like 15, 16. Nah, you're not the man in the house. At 18, you're not the man in the house. You're not the man of the house. It ain't yours, right? But you sure ain't the man of the house where your mother sits on the throne as the queen. You are a man in the house. But a lot of times what happens is children are given those roles to take care of their siblings. They're your emotional support. They're your sounding board when things are not going right in your life, when things are heavy on your spirit. You go and talk to your child and you wonder why your child talks to you the way that they do, because that's not a healthy boundary. Now they become the caregiver. Now that happens in many, if not most, a household where the parent is there's substance abuse issues with the parent. Um, but don't put a child in this situation. And this happens all too often with boys. Boys, dad is not there. It's him and mom, and he takes on this S on his chest kind of role, in the house, like who dude, baby boy scenario, right? Excuse me. Um, but then when they hit the street, they got the same kind of mindset. And they the same ones that wind up sitting on the bunk, you know, up in the juvenile institution, prison, state correctional institution. They the same ones sitting on the side of the bunk, can't handle it. Can't handle it, right? Because they really kids. They never had the experience of being able to be boys to come into young adulthood. They didn't know. They didn't have that. And that's why you have what we have today, which I talked about as the show began. We got to stop giving boys that role of being a man when they a damn boy. How do you tell a 7-year old stop crying like some little girl and you need to be a man? I'm 7. How the hell do I be a man at 7? Seven, re-traumatization. Many who were abused in childhood and did not get adequate support to heal. See, this is another part. Find that their behaviors and emotions actually regress when they have children. Regress when they have children. When we are not given support to heal from our traumas, this is a natural reaction to seeing our children at the same age we were when the traumas happened. Listen to me here, right? There's healing. See, I'm telling you, the all-knowing, the most merciful, most gracious one, still giving me healing. Yeah. I'm able to see me at this age. I don't remember what it was like at this age, but watching this 1-year old, right, coming into 2 years old, and look at the things that she's doing, the things that she's experiencing, right, and the things that I want her to learn, the things that she's learning. She sings all the time, and she sings songs that we have no idea what the hell she's singing, but she sings. She watches me do music. She knows when I come on. She hears me on the radio and on the thing and whatnot. But she sings all the time, and she walks around and she sings these songs and like they come out of nowhere. That she sings these things, right? I'm here to experience it. I'm here to nurture it. Because y'all think I ain't gonna put her on no microphone. Don't think she ain't going to you learn how to play the piano. Don't think I'm going to. Oh no, I'm going to nurture that. But just think, if I had been healed to the level I am today, what capacity would that have contributed to my daughters? Like I said, I got great daughters. They do great for themselves. But just imagine me being able to have elevated them to a higher level if I was emotionally capable and available at that time. This is aiding me. If I allowed myself, if I wasn't so full of the stuff that I imposed upon myself, yeah, just think. Yeah. If my uncle Frank nurtured so much within me, so much, because I spent so much time with him. He nurtured so much. And my aunt D, when I told my aunt Deanna, I was talked to her one day, and I had talked to her for a long, long, long time. I said, Auntie, every time I tell people I've been married 4 times, they always ask me, what did you do? Are you making this? And you know what she said to me? She said, baby, you just keep on trying. That's what I was nurtured by. That's who I was nurtured by. Yeah. And again, it's not out from my mother. My mother did a lot of nurturing with what she had. Different people made different contribution. Parent figures. Immense fear of repeating the cycle. Many of us worrying about repeating unhealthy patterns we experience in our own families. In some, this can cause avoidance of having children due to fears of repeating the cycle. Just always remember this. This is this is your responsibility. Your life is your responsibility. When it comes to parenting, when it comes to co-parenting, when it comes to understanding that this relationship is over between you and I as girlfriend and boyfriend, husband and wife, whatever the case is, accept that, acknowledge that. We don't spend time while in these relationships focusing on our roles as parents. So therefore, when a relationship is girlfriend and boyfriend fails, we don't know what else to hold on to make this relationship good and healthy for us as parents for our child. You have to heal yourself. You have to acknowledge your own shortcomings, your own deficient areas when it comes to these emotional upheavals that you experience that are directly related to childhood trauma. Plain and simple. I, I don't know what other way I could possibly put it. You know, you won't be a better parent until you find some way to heal. It's going to keep going in the same direction. You're going to keep being at odds with the father, the other parent. You're going to keep being at odds with your children. They didn't ask to come here, right? Let's do better. As always, I'm your host, Sabir Aline. You could be doing anything else. 10 o'clock, Saturday night, but here you are. Brother Bilal, good to see you. Girl mom, see you in a few minutes. Hey, listen, thank you for tuning in. For those of you that join me on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, on YouTube, thank you as always for your continued support. And I look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday um, at 9 a.m. I'm your host, Sabir Lane. Y'all have a great one. This is a cut from the most recent release, You Want to Be Me. This is Lost Sight. Check it out. Oh, no. down south.
When you tell me you love me, what does that mean? Bring it to fruition, a fantasy, a dream. Make your heart flutter, or maybe you freeze. If I had no vision, how could I see that the woman you are is made
Just for me.
if I couldn't hear your words, had to read your lips? If I had no hands to caress your hips, would you drink all of me? Just say
Take sips.
if I refused to beg, couldn't buy you gifts, but the love you profess for me still exists. Said you love me right, caught up and lost sight. The darkness in your eyes, thought it was a light. Said you love me right, caught up and lost sight. The darkness in your eyes, thought it was a light. Love, oh love, love, sweet love, self-gratification.
Yeah, I hit it right.
Take that off the table.
We just argue, fuss, and fight
You say I'm on your mind
throughout your day.
sending
Emojis and endearing words of love your way.
over there. Talk about your selfishness. You see, resolution is out.
I just take my leave.
I lay it all on mine. Hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Promise to protect you. Have ordained relations. I promise to make you mine. Take out
From the divine
love
love,
everlasting.
everlasting,
To the end of time. Said you love me right. Caught up alongside. The darkness in your eyes. Thought it was a light. Said you love me right. Caught up alongside. The darkness in your eyes.
I thought was a light. Love,
Oh love. Love. Sweet love.